I don't think I've ever been more fascinated in a movie's title than I have with Perfect Blue. It's more than just a title, it's a rule. A visual code meant to guide your eye and remind you of the darker underbelly hiding amongst the film's odd structure. It's striking that the first image we see in the film is a Super Sentai character dressed in red. Super Sentai, more commonly known in the West for their adapted counterparts the Power Rangers, don't tell me I'm pronouncing Sentai wrong, I don't know, are an easily recognisable symbol of heroism, particularly in the film setting of Japan. At a public attraction, these figures defeat an unnamed bad guy in a feat of superheroics to the applause of the satisfied onlookers. But there's a problem. It's all fake. It's staged. I mean, we know it's staged, of course, it's a performance. But at the same time, that doesn't stop you believing, does it? Believing in the righteousness of their actions as they triumph against the villains? We know Superman isn't real, but he's still a beloved symbol of goodness and righteousness in the minds of many. We see him as a paragon, and ideal to look up to and stand by, to follow and sometimes devote ourselves to. There are worse ideologies, certainly, but in the end, he's not real. These Sentai heroes, their heroics, the very same actions that the audience connects with on such a deep, ethereal level, it's all fiction. We don't know who they are behind the masks. And what's more, we don't care. And their leader is red. Perfect Blue tells the story of Mima, an idol singer who's recently retired from her life of moderate stardom in the hopes of starting a career as an actress, taking on more mature roles. Only to face a torrent of abuse from the fans that she quickly realised don't see her as Mima the person, but Mima the idol. When we first enter Mima's apartment, the backgrounds focus on the dull blues of the night sky and of her fish tank as she escapes from her woes for a brief moment on her relaxing blue bed. But then, we're snapped awake. The red wrapping on her presence, one of the last lingering threads tying her to her former life. The red makeup cabinet holding all of the products she uses to transform herself into her idol form. Her kitchen appliances, her food supply, her washing up and cutlery, all of her responsibilities, red. All of these visual cues culminate in the moment in which she receives her first anonymous threat, kick-starting her spiral, and all we see is her, in her room, surrounded by the colour red. The visual through-line of the colour mounts from here, only growing more extreme and horrific as the psychological ballet of the film plays out. From the grim coatings of blood that cover the victims of the film's many violent murders, to the vibrant curtains dangling behind Mima as she fends off her own brutal assault, and, most strikingly, in the clothing of the phantom girl haunting Mima, the real Mima, the embodiment of her own self-loathing, regrets and fears, complete in the package of a sexier, skinnier identity crisis. The usage of the metaphor, much like the colour itself, only grow more vibrant throughout as Mima and her grasp on reality begin to collapse completely. And at its heart, the one lingering question remains raised by the film's title. If blue is perfect, what does that make red? This concept of red versus blue, not machinima, not Rooster Teeth, I don't want to see any comments about Halo, is one explored interestingly in another, more recent horror film. However, in this world, the roles are reversed. The film opens on a blue-washed forest as a male voice speaks in an uncomfortably lurid manner of his excitement at seeing our protagonist in a blue dress. Through the film, we learn that this voice is that of our main character's stalker, whose first advance on her was breaking into her home to lay the blue dress on her bed. And thus, the new paradigm is born. Blue is bad. The film revolves around the hospitalization of our main character, Sawyer, as her paranoia and crumbling mental state are drowned out by the uncaring staff and desensitized fellow residents. I should point out this film kind of demonizes hospital care and the mentally ill pretty badly, but that's a fairly common trend in horror, which is unfortunate. As she is committed and finds herself trapped in a frightening and unsafe environment, our eyes are assaulted with a constant reminder of the danger she's in. The bottles for the medicine being used to sedate her? Blue. The hospital bed she's chained to each night? Blue. The mug of the administrator who obstinately refuses to listen to her pleas or let her have any contact with the outside world? Blue. And this blue infects every aspect of her life within the hospital and beyond. The suit jacket she wore to work prior to even entering the hospital wrapping itself around her even within the professional and safe environment of business. Her mother's home, patterned white with an ocean of blue flowers, a place once of safety, now unable to subdue or heal her terror. And whilst in the hospital, her clothing is always coated in a light, almost ignorable, but ever-present shade of blue. All of this collides in the film's third act, when we witness the ultimate punishment that's been foreshadowed throughout the film, the place of her eventual confrontation with her stalker and the catalyst of her last stand, the padded walls of solitary confinement, trapping her in a solid mass of dark, inescapable blue. By the end of the film, this imagery crescendos into an ineluctable wash which coats the entire picture. The familiar sight of a lush green forest is warped and twisted into an alien world of endless blue as she flees for her life. And even she, herself, is fully submerged. In perfect blue, blue is perfect. Its Mima's innocence and sanity quickly lost to her as she falls into the all-consuming horror of the vivid red, absorbing her and her identity while slowly crushing the life, both figurative and literal, out of her. But in Unsane, it's an opposing blue that washes over the day-to-day life of Sawyer, trapping her in an endless pit of anxiety and paranoia, and slowly dragging her deeper as everything she looks to and touches is bathed in the insurmountable, inevitable, and endless expanse of blue. Until she fights back, and the unstoppable, all-consuming facade of blue is cracked by a single drop of red. But maybe I'm just reading into all that a bit too much.